Under a drone camera, the riverbed looks cracked and dry. Nothing is growing. The person who posted the video said it hasn't rained properly for 7 months, from last September until this March. Only a few tiny drops had fallen now and then. One person working in agriculture said this was their last shot, and now it's gone. All that effort was wasted. All signs suggest that this year, China could face its worst drought in 60 years. Another person commented, "Yes, the last major drought was also in the year of the snake. That year we had no harvest at all. No rice, no crops, nothing. Now it's been exactly 60 years since then." In a video posted on April 7th, a farmer is seen kneeling down, begging the sky for rain.
Dear
heavens, please open your eyes and give us some rain. So many fields of wheat here in Henan need water. The wheat is just starting to form heads. Please let it rain. Open your eyes and take pity on us ordinary people.
Right now is the most important stage for wheat, when it's developing the part that determines yield. It needs a lot of water during this time. Without it, there will be fewer grains. Some heads may not form properly, or they may split and shrink. This could sharply reduce the harvest and affect the wheat's quality. If the drought continues, it will seriously threaten food security. One comment read, "If it doesn't rain soon, we'll lose the whole wheat crop." Another person asked, what about the 7 trillion yuan in government subsidies? Where did all that money go? It never gets spent when it's really needed. In another video, a woman from Guangxi says, "It's been half a year since we had a real rainfall. These sugarcane plants have been in the ground for more than 2 months and still haven't grown. I wait day after day. The forecast said it would rain during the Qingming festival, but the forecast is useless. Still no rain." Today, my parents came to help water the sugarcane again. We poured water and covered the soil with film. Let me show you the situation. Just 2 tricycles, 2 water jugs, and the water is from our house. But this is nowhere near enough. How are we supposed to work like this? We're out here digging every few days. And look, this is what we find. Is there any hope for the sugarcane? There are still a few buds. If we water them, will they survive? This is all we can do. Just try to ease the sugarcane's thirst. I hope we can still save them. But if we have to replant everything, how much more will that cost? Just look at this land. It's like a desert. Not even grass grows here. At this rate, we might as well save money we'd spend on fertilizer and pesticides. People might just end up eating dirt. Another person said, here in Hechi, even drinking water is hard to find in some places. Where would we get water for farming? All we can do is wait and wait, but we don't even know what we're waiting for. Others wrote, my saplings all died. People here don't even have drinking water anymore. The river dried up. They said it won't rain until the end of April, and even then, it'll have to rain for 20 days straight to make a difference. One person even warned, be careful, the government is already watching you.
我的天，北方人怎么也不会想到。
A person from Guangxi was shocked and said, oh my god, people from the north would never imagine that the south could have a drought too. Guangxi has 13 river systems. Even the locals don't understand. How could we have a drought? What's going on?
这里不是沙漠啊。
This isn't a desert. This is the Jianghan Plain in Hubei. Look at these broad beans. They're completely dried up. There's a water source just 10 meters away, but we can't afford to use it. If we do, there won't be enough for spring planting. We're now using a 100-meter pipe to bring water to the field, because the string beans grown here are the entire income for the year. This is the reality of drought in Hubei right now. They're using groundwater and even tap water to fight the drought. But once the groundwater runs out, what will be left for future generations?
One person commented, last year we had flooding here. Even the train station was underwater. But after that, we barely had any rain, just a few light drizzles. Now even during the Qingming festival, there hasn't been any rain. There's no water anywhere. I've lived in Guilin my whole life and never saw a drought like this.
These days, everyone's talking about the US-China rivalry and the stock market crash. But how come no one is paying attention to the drought in the Jianghan Plain? Normally, from Lunar New Year until now, around March and April, we will get rain for about half the month. This year, not a single drop. This wheat should have grown much taller by now, but look at it, it's dry. The rapeseed plants aren't doing well either. The wheat is so dry, there's going to be nothing to harvest. The broad beans are all dead, completely dried out. This drought is too severe. It's the worst drought we've ever had here in the Jianghan Plain.
In another video, someone showed rice seedlings planted on March 15th. By April 5th, more than 20 days had passed, but the seedlings hadn't grown at all. Only the new shoots were green. Everything else looked the same. The field had cracked open. It was all ruined because there hadn't been any rain. A person from Hubei couldn't make sense of it. How could we be short of water? Hubei is known as the land of 1,000 lakes. But now Hubei is facing a serious drought. Cities like Xiangyang and Jingmen have issued warnings. Crops like wheat and tea are being heavily affected. Farmers are working non-stop, trying to water the fields and save what they can. But it's already spring, and during Qingming, there wasn't a single drop of the usual spring rain. Some people online are saying all of the water has been diverted to the desert. Now Hubei is in a drought while the desert is flooding. What a shocking surprise. It's just like last year. First they pray for rain during the drought, and then it won't stop raining, leading to flash floods. Another person asked, didn't China build the world's biggest water project? How are we still having droughts? Some questioned why China built so many dams and reservoirs if they never release water during droughts, only when there's flooding during the rainy season. One person asked, are these water projects only for generating electricity and making money, not really for the people? Someone replied, you guessed it, they only think about themselves. They never think of the people. The ones who approve these dams and reservoirs are officials who don't even understand the field. They only care about looking good and boosting their records. In another video, engineers stand silently next to a dried-up riverbed. People are wondering how farmers are supposed to survive this year. One person commented, at first everyone thought it was a simple drought, but by late summer and early fall, reality hit. Last year we had no rain at all. Then, just as the corn was about to mature, heavy rain poured down non-stop. A lot of it turned moldy. Our county sits on a low-lying area, and it got flooded. Another person said, the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River haven't seen a spring drought like this in over 100 years. But this year, we've been fighting drought since the spring planting season started. Normally, we shouldn't even need irrigation during this time. Farmers already have it tough. If they have to fight drought again and again in one season, how can they keep going? In one clip, someone said, we grow rice on this land. This year, we switched to corn for animal feed. It hasn't rained at all. There's no moisture in the soil. The corn seedlings are coming up red. The rapeseed plants are in a bad shape too. And they added, this year, if we can't plant, we just won't. We'll try to save whatever little water we have for the wheat. At least try to save the crops that are close to harvest. People are pointing out that since last fall and winter, rainfall has been low across the country. Even during this year's Qingming festival, many people said it was the first time in decades they had seen no rain at all during the holiday. Since April, drought has continued to spread nationwide, with Guangxi province being hit the hardest. Most of the region is now in severe drought, and some areas have reached extreme drought levels. The hardest hit places are major production zones for sugarcane, rice, and lychee. Rainfall in Guangxi has been low since last fall. Even last year's typhoons all seem to avoid the area. For example, in Nanning, from October to March, only 68.4 millimeters of rain fell. That's 75% less than the usual amount for that time of year. If it doesn't rain soon, crops won't make it. It's not just Guangxi. The drought is also spreading across the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River and the North China Plain. In some parts of the North China, the drought has already reached a severe level. Farmers are doing everything they can to find water for irrigation during this critical spring planting season. They're trying to save their rice, wheat, and sugarcane crops. Some people are reminded of the drought in 2022. They're worried. Will this year turn out to be just as bad? Unfortunately, the current signs aren't encouraging. Even though both 2022 and 2025 are under the La Niña climate pattern, this year's La Niña started earlier, around October last year, and is expected to continue until May or June, only ending when the rainy season arrives. This means the drought may last even longer. Farmers need to prepare for a tough fight against the dry conditions. While central and southern China are experiencing serious drought, something unusual is happening in the north. A person in Hebei said, friends in the south, all the water's been diverted up here. I live in Zhangjiakou, right next to Beijing. Even in our poor area, they built a golf course in Wangquan district. Do you think local people can afford to play there? In another clip from Yangfengshan town in Beijing, a spring called Chenjiazhuang is bubbling up with clear water. Someone says, look down there. The spring water is flowing steadily. This spring existed when I was a kid, but around 1980, the Yongding River dried up and the spring stopped flowing. Now, thanks to the south to north water diversion project and the first ecological water replenishment of the Yongding River, the spring has suddenly come back to life. Even during this past dry winter, it didn't stop flowing. Monitoring data shows that after the spring returned, the flow has stayed steady, around 30 liters per second. And it's not just this one. Out of the 1,361 monitored spring sites, 880 currently have flowing water. Among the springs that had been dry for years, 81 have started flowing again. In March, the average depth of groundwater in Beijing's plains was 12.83 meters. That's nearly 13 meters higher than it was during the same period in 2015, a new record for the past decade. One person commented, "In China, many disasters are only 30% natural and 70% man-made." The South to North Water Diversion Project was supposed to bring southern water to Beijing to protect the capital. But just like the Three Gorges Dam, it goes against nature. These flashy but poorly planned projects will eventually backfire and bring disasters. Now, southern China, which used to have plenty of rainfall, is facing severe drought. Meanwhile, Beijing, normally dry and cold, suddenly has plenty of water. On top of that, southern regions aren't just dry, they're also experiencing rare sandstorms, something people there never imagined could happen. Recently, strong winds swept across most of China, and many areas were hit by sandstorms at the same time. According to Sina Finance, on April 13th, the Central Meteorological Observatory reported that this sandstorm reached unusually far, blowing all the way down to southern China. Due to surface-level strong winds and sand transport, parts of northern and southwestern Guangdong were expected to see blowing dust or haze on April 13th. At the same time, the entire province began to experience a drop in temperature between 3 to 6 degrees Celsius. On April 12th, most parts of Guangdong saw rainfall, with some areas hit by heavy rain and thunderstorms with wind gusts reaching level 8 to 10. Data from the Guangdong Provincial Department of Ecology and Environment showed that as of 9 a.m. on April 13th, all 21 cities in the province reported some level of air pollution. Guangzhou experienced severe pollution. Zhuhai, Yangqiang, Dongguan, Huizhou, Heyuan, Shaoguang, Jiangmen, and Zhongshan had heavy pollution. 5 cities, including Shenzhen, had moderate pollution, while another 5 reported light pollution. People in Guangdong were stunned. Some commented, "Guangzhou? Sandstorm? What's that? Never heard of it." Others said, "Dust flying everywhere. The sky's completely gray." "This is the first time I've seen a sandstorm in Guangdong. It chased all the way down from the north. Woke up to find a sandstorm in Guangzhou. This feels so strange." One person added, "First time I've ever seen blowing sand in a weather forecast." According to Jimu News, sandstorms also hit Sichuan province. In the northeastern part of the province, dust levels surged. In some areas, the sky turned completely yellow. The sandstorm was carried south by strong winds, completely ignoring the Qingling and Daba mountain ranges and rushing straight into the Sichuan basin. On April 11th, around noon, cities like Chengdu, Guangyuan, Bazhong, Mian, and Deyang were all affected. Their PM10 readings, used to measure air pollution, began to rise. Real-time air quality data showed that around 1 a.m. on April 12th, some northeastern Sichuan cities recorded extremely high readings. In Guangyuan, the PM10 concentration reached 1,316. Video showed the city covered in yellowish dust. A resident from Guangyuan said that the sandstorm started on the night of April 11th. The next morning, her electric scooter was covered in dust. She said the sky looked gray, and fewer people were going outside. In Guang'an, a business owner said they were hit by strong winds that night, at least level 7 or 8. A street barrier was blown over. By the next morning, the sky had turned yellow from the sand. Some people in Sichuan said, "To the north, blue sky. To the east, yellow sky." Another added, "We kept our windows shut yesterday, but I was still sneezing inside. I've had enough of this dust from Mongolia." Someone else said, "After the rain stopped, my car parked outside was covered in yellow mud. I've never seen it this dirty before." One person questioned, "Even the Qingling Mountains can't stop this? Has all that work on desert control failed?" Meanwhile, in Anhui, the Provincial Weather Center issued a yellow wind warning at 9:15 a.m. on April 12th. Over the next 48 hours, most of the province was expected to experience average wind speeds of level 4 to 5, with gusts reaching level 8 to 10, and in some places even above level 11. On April 12th, strong winds hit the western part of northern Anhui. A total of 1,052 towns recorded wind gusts above level 8. Among them, 58 towns experienced gusts over level 10. The strongest winds registered level 12, equivalent to 35 meters per second. According to Red Star News, in Lu'an, a tree fell on Renmin Road, resulting in one person being injured and later passing away. Investigation showed that a 55-year-old woman was riding an electric bicycle along the south side of Renmin Road. Due to the high winds, a roadside tree suddenly collapsed, striking her. She was taken to the hospital but couldn't be saved. Online, Anhui residents expressed frustration. Some said, branches are left untrimmed all over town. Others said the government should take responsibility. If they knew strong winds were coming, why didn't they clear the dangerous trees? As sandstorms stirred panic across southern China, an even more bizarre weather phenomenon appeared in Hunan. On April 11th, in Ximen County, the sky suddenly turned pitch black in broad daylight. Local residents said it was truly terrifying. Videos shared online show the entire town covered in darkness. Streetlights were turned on, and cars had to use headlights. Some people said, "It went dark in the morning. How scary." A shop owner said, "It happened without warning. One moment it was normal, then it suddenly turned black." Mr. Zhang, a local shopkeeper, said the sky darkened in just a few minutes. Visibility dropped sharply, and it lasted 3 minutes before returning to normal. He said he had never seen anything like this in his entire life. People in the comments shared similar reactions. "The whole of Ximen was like this today. We waited so long for rain, and it finally came, but the sky turning dark like that was scary. It was eerie. I thought it was nighttime. I only saw a massive black cloud. Just one big black cloud, then strong winds and heavy rain. Looks like hail is coming." Others said, "Strange signs in the sky. These past few days, we've had strong winds, blizzards, sandstorms. Everyone needs to stay safe. Something's off with nature. This could be a sign of something big, either an earthquake or a major storm. Strong winds in Beijing, Wuhan, Xi'an, Jinan, Chongqing. It's windy everywhere." This year, in just a few months, there have been rare celestial events that many people have never witnessed in their entire lives. While much attention is focused on the US-China trade war, in traditional Chinese culture, these concentrated and strange celestial events are considered far more sensitive and significant. They're often seen as omens that the current rulers will soon fall.